For this section, we'll talk about the collateral consequences for communities of color. We'll talk about statistics related to police violence, increased mental health and other concerns, and Black communities' systematic disempowerment. This quote states, "We only kill Black people," right? And within this section, I have added the video where the origin came from. And the origin was that of a police officer that was basically talking to a white woman stating that you have nothing to worry about. We only kill Black people. And below we have the picture of a recreation of Mike Brown's scene where he laid to rest. And for many people, we are aware that Black people are predominantly those of which that will be impacted negatively by police officers. So we'll go on to talk about some of the statistics in this section. I can't breathe. Hands up. Black Lives Matter are all words used to protest against the inequality and ineffective treatment, might I add, that police officers utilize when entering communities of color. And what you have is an increased level of negative police presence. Collateral consequences are consequences that are had as a result of something occurring. These collateral consequences as it relates to police violence are more cases of excessive use of force, police killings and their spillover effects on the mental health of Black Americans. A population-based quasi-experimental study, which is in the reference section, states that police killed more than 300 Black Americans, at least a quarter of them unarmed each year in America. These events might have spillover effects on the mental health of people not directly affected. And might I add, these events do have a spillover effect on the people that are not directly impacted. Statistics related to police violence against African Americans. Black Americans are nearly 3 times more likely than are white Americans to be killed by police, accounting for more than 40% of victims of police killings nationwide, and 5 times more likely than are white Americans to be killed unarmed. Police violence and increased mental health. According to a recent study by Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, which surveyed over 100,000 Black Americans, the results indicate that police killings of unarmed Black Americans are having a population-level impact on the mental health of Black Americans. According to researchers, the incidents may contribute to 1.7 additional poor mental health days per person every year, or 55 million more poor mental health days every year among Black Americans across the United States. Psychological stress. Each episode of police brutality has emotional and physiological effects on individuals and communities. Witnessing or experiencing harassment, routine unwarranted searches, and deaths that go unpunished sends a message to Black communities that their bodies are police property, disposable, and undeserving of dignity and justice. Increased morbidity. Police brutality is linked to excess morbidity amongst Blacks at both the individual and the community level. It increases fatal injuries that increase population-specific mortality rates, adverse physiological responses that increase morbidity, racist public reaction that cause stress, arrest, incarceration, and legal medical funeral bills that increase financial strain, integrated oppressive structures that cause systematic disempowerment, racist public reaction. And when I think about this section, I think about how many times that I personally have been called to answer or account for something that has happened, not necessarily saying or receiving some kind of condolence for somebody passing away, but rather asking or having to justify why this individual did not deserve to die. Black people often have the task of explaining to non-Black friends, co-workers, and strangers the connection between structural racism and the latest police shooting. One example of racist public reaction that might cause stress is arguing that victims were somehow responsible for their own untimely murders, dissecting the guilt or innocence of the murdered person versus understanding how white supremacy has caused this. I want us to really focus on those 2 points right here, especially for those of your colleagues, your friends, dare I say family members of color. These are some of the things that we go through internally when it comes to trauma, the trauma that has been done as a result of police violence and seeing over and over and witnessing police violence in America. Black community systematic disempowerment. Police violence is a constant reminder of the historic and current devaluing of black lives. It sends a signal that there is little hope for justice. Excessive police force, inadequate prosecution of perpetrators might increase feelings of powerlessness in communities of color. And this is the issue, and this is what is at the root, not recognizing that black lives matter. Thank you.